Good evening, everybody. Ken Rodriguez with NAGP Thursday Night GT1 Racing, coming to you live from the Enzo Edino Ferrari circuit, aka Imola. But before we go any further, please allow me to introduce to you my co-host, Jack Ivy. Good evening, Jack.
Hey, Ken, good to be back. I think we got everything all fixed up, so we're looking for a seamless broadcast tonight.
Yep, I have to agree. We want to apologize for last week's little fiasco with the broadcast. And this week, we are implementing a backup strategy in the event of any anomalies. Not that we expect them, but my good buddy Jack is ready to go should we experience any type of problems. But we want to welcome you folks out there in TV land to this week's live broadcast. NAGP GT1 Thursday Night Racing.
Yes, and the action is going to be fast and furious around here tonight. We're at Imola, which I like this track. It's a tough one, though, Ken.
Yeah, it sure is. This one is one of my favorite practice everything tracks. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got some chicanes, it's got some straightaways. What's great about this track is the elevation changes. For instance, going into the Variante Alta, actually coming out of Piratella into Acqua Miranelli, that is one area where you kind of come down this short chute, you're downhill, going into that corner, it's all suspension compression, tons of grip. It's a great passing opportunity if you do it right too. Same thing going into Rivazza. This track, that's another part of the track that's downhill, and as you're going into that first Rivazza corner, you're getting all that suspension compression and all that great traction that's available for these GT1 cars.
Yeah, and these GT1 cars have got a lot of power, and I noticed in the early practice that these guys are going to have to be careful getting on the power in a lot of those tight corners, and curbing as well. It looks like it's the guys who don't have the car set up, Ken, it looked like they're going to have trouble with the curbing and maybe some cuts.
Yep, this, as we discussed earlier, Jack, this is a self-marshalling track. It is tight. We ran this very same version of Imola last season, season 22 for GT2, and I myself ended up having to serve a stop-and-go penalty because of the first Tamburello chicane. Yeah,
well, last week, some of the guys got caught out with cuts as well.
Yep, you're not kidding. They sure did. And as a matter of fact, we do have a penalties video that we want to take you to. So we're going to go ahead and roll that tape here in a second. And here we go. And I will be doing the narration for this one. Sorry, folks, I wasn't able to record it beforehand. So got a little something for you guys here. So let's take it to the tape. And so for the first time stamp submitted, puts Trussler into the back of Mike Graytrix. We see a hot and heavy battle for position going on here between three cars on a tight street circuit. You know, it's bound to create some victims. Unfortunately, this time around, Graytrix found himself on the short end of the stick. Fault goes to Trussler, and Trussler gains a penalty of 20 kilograms for this race. Moving over to the warnings, this next timestamp resulted in a warning being issued to Rich Roman for what the competition committee deemed to be failure to yield to blue flags. Poel gives plenty of warning that he is descending quickly behind Roman on this battle for P1 ahead of him. Flashes the lights several times at Roman, and finally Roman yields as they come onto the final turn, but more on that in a minute. So next here we have Jonathan Cuppet. This is an at-fault contact. Jonathan Cuppet with a first lap at-fault contact going through the turns 1, 2, 3 complex. We stated it on the broadcast last week that this combination of corners was going to prove difficult for some drivers. In this segment, we see that Cuppet just barely gets into the rear of Sergio Calderon's Lister Storm. There was no resulting loss of position or race-ending consequences. However, nonetheless, it is counted as an at-fault contact. 5 of those in a season, and you will serve a no qualifying penalty after you have accrued that 5th at-fault contact. Thereafter, the number drops to 3 and quite possibly stiffer penalties. Now, I just want to go back to the warning issued to Roman. I'm of the opinion that this one was a hard one to call. You're racing on a tight and twisty track. You're being put a lap down by one of the race leaders. What is the strategy at this point if you're Roman? My guess is to keep on racing until the opportune time comes along. Based on what I saw in that video, this one was too hard to call, and perhaps the competition committee thought so as well and decided that this one only warranted a warning. In the end, after the cut review, however, by the competition committee, David Poel was over the allowed cuts, ended up losing his 3rd place finish, and was pushed back to 5th place as a result. So he takes the hit in the points race. Tough break. The CC this season, and perhaps going forward, are really starting to crack the whip on instances that in previous times may have gone unpunished, or dare I even say it, overlooked. That's it from me, Jack. Back to you.
Well done. Well done. I am impressed. That was mouthful and a paragraph full too, Ken. But you know what? I got to agree with you. I really think that this unnecessary contact is being addressed this season. I like the weight they're throwing on these guys because the weight carries through the whole race. The only thing that I'm not crazy about is having some of these aggressive drivers in behind us at the back of the pack. They're crashing and bashing their way up through. But you know what? If they keep on getting the weight thrown on, hey, they're going to, sooner or later, they're going to get the word.
Yeah, they certainly are.
Back to qualifying. David Poel out there with a 1:37.
Yes, he is. And, boy, he's just laying it down. So we did see a 1:36 in practice. Will there be a repeat? David Poel driving the big Ford GT, a heavier car, but man, he's got that thing so hooked up. He's a man on a mission this season, Jack.
Yeah, you know what? Boy, oh boy, I don't know what's in the water where he lives, but I'm going to move there. And if not, I'm going to hire him to teach me how to drive faster because he is doing great both on Monday and Thursday. So good on you, David. You've had a couple of seasons of bad luck, but it looks like that's all behind you now. Yeah,
certainly. I have to agree. Right now in second, we have Ian Jolicoeur. He's another one. He shows up at this track and just starts laying down some really hot laps driving the Aston Martin DBR9. This guy's incredible.
Yeah, right behind him is John Sportelli, but that's not a surprise to me because Sportelli won in season, I think it was 13 when they were last here. So he was driving the Ferrari, no surprise there. But he just got dropped down to 4th, and Ludden has picked up the pace and gone to 2nd. But Sporto out there, and he's going to be a good contender for the rest of this race.
I think so. I absolutely think so. And Juan Monroy running in 5th right now during qualifying. And you know what? Let's take the opportunity and show the folks a lap around this track. I'll go ahead and throw that video up there, and we'll come back right afterwards.
So
here we are at the lovely Imola Speedway. We start out by going down the first straightaway called Torrey into Variante Tamburello. This part of Tamburello was modified after 1994. Exit speed being of utmost importance here as you come down into the Variante Villeneuve. Here is usually 3rd gear, down into 2nd, so that way you can get a good run. Exit speed again being emphasized here as you come into Tosa. Tosa is usually a 2nd gear turn for most of the drivers here at GT1. Here you are flooring it up the hill, up to Piratella, typically 3rd gear, coming down this corner. And you, again, emphasizing on corner exit speed, want to get on the gas as quickly as possible, getting down into 5th gear, and then downshift, maximizing the entry and exit speed coming out of Miranelli. Running down this short straight to Variante Alta. Now this chicane here is going to be a pain point for some drivers if they take this chicane too aggressively, because these curves here are high and they love to throw your car off into the grass and possibly even the wall. Coming down now into Rivazza. This is a second gear turn. You want to hug that apex as tight as you possibly can, and here coming out of the second corner, maximizing corner exit speed and get on the throttle down the straight as quickly as you can. And that'll complete your lap here at Imola. And there you have it, folks, a lap around Imola in the speedy Aston Martin DBR9.
Nice ride, Ken.
Oh yeah, well, you know, I hired a
They don't know that, Ken.
I hired a top secret driver for that one. He was right on.
Yeah, we still got Poel, Ludden, Jolicoeur, and Marty Urin has jumped up to fourth. But just wanted to break down. Last week we had Parsons, Marison, Sportelli, and Ludden. But you know, there's a couple of guys. Poel, Merriman, Al Merriman finished in sixth, Jolicoeur in seventh. But I really want to. You know, put kudos out there, Ken, just for a second, to Sam Rolfe, who finished 8th, and Thomas Schubeck, who finished 10th. I thought that was great. Right behind Schubeck was Gup Douglas in 11th. So a great run for those guys, 8th, 10th, and 11th. Mikey Graytrex finished in the points, too. So some of our, you know, not our alien drivers, but some of our good, strong mid-pack drivers are contending up here.
Yeah, they certainly are, Jack. And boy, I tell you, Adelaide was a tough circuit for anybody to finish. These GT1 cars, super horsepower, some of them upwards of 600 horsepower under the hood. Not an easy track to tame either. And you know that those curbs on Adelaide circuit, they were just monstrous. But they made it through.
Yeah, you know, currently we've got out there Poel in provisional P1, John Ludden in second, Andrew Werner in third. Werner having a great run out there at a 137.5 flat. Ian Jolicoeur in fourth and Marty Urin in fifth. So it is tightening up there. A 136.849 for Poel in the lead.
Yeah, Poel is certainly laying down the smack down here tonight. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's focused. He is just giving all his attention to his driving this season, and as you mentioned, and not just in GT1, in GT2 as well. He's just been contending up at the front.
Well, you know, we know David's a pilot, so maybe he thinks this is a flight sim.
It could be, Jack. It could be. I wouldn't doubt it. How hard would it be to take your knowledge from an airplane to a car? I don't know. The movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles kind of made it look simple.
Well, believe me, I'm a pilot, and I sure can't drive this game. Now, just a quick update, guys. Driver standings. Have you got anything for us there, Kenny?
We do, actually. Let's go over to the driver standing sheet right now. So that's up on your screen. And we're showing Aaron Parsons out in front after Adelaide last week, where he scored the 25 points with 54 points. Al Merriman is second, 28, so sitting a ways back.
Yeah, but you know, good on Al, and Al's looking pretty strong. You know, he's currently sitting in P10 right now in the qualifying. Roman in third and Sportelli are tied. You know, back in sixth spot is, again, I just want to throw this out, Thomas Schubeck. And, you know, I don't know if you've got something there on the team standings as well, because this is interesting.
Oh, yeah. So go ahead and run it down, because we have the team standings showing up for our viewers now.
Well, you know, we got T. Broke Dan Bam, you know, with 54 points. PMR in the Panos with 48. But right behind him, you know, Thomas Schubeck's team in the Nissan with 43. So good on them. And then right behind them is Rolf Spart, and Sam Rolf had a couple of great races so far, so he's contributing to Sportelli in Rolf Spart. So team is looking really interesting this season.
I have to agree with you, Jack. And you know what? It just goes to show that these drivers are really putting it out there on the line week after week. And it tells in how close these teams are running with the points. Yeah, we have a lot of season left to go, but given the level of competition, I think we're going to see some interesting developments as we go along.
Yeah, and anything can happen. We're a week behind the Monday Night Series, but we saw in that first race with the Schmazel we had going, the Nissan team. They were the only team that finished, and that gave them a real boost. I think that was a real energizer for Panzerfaust. So I think, once these guys get a taste of the points, they're going for it. So, we can look for some of these guys to pop right up there, like Alex White, who's now sitting in P4. So Alex is turning on the motor again tonight.
Yep, he sure is. Alex White not running a full GT1 season, but he's been joining us in the sub position. He's driving a Saleen SR7, sitting P4. Let's go back to the timing board and take a look at what we've got up there. So David Poel with that 136.8, eh?
Yeah, I think Alex White is subbing in for maybe Prado tonight.
Ah, good point. That's right. So we have about 25 drivers out there. Pretty decent field for tonight. And Alex White now moves up to P2, 137 flat.
Well, still got a little bit of work if he's going to try and squeeze out those 2/10s, because David Poel sure is laying down the lot tonight.
Yeah, he sure is. I don't know if White Lightning has what it takes to answer back, or even John Ludden for that matter. John Ludden was sitting comfortably in second until Alex White, but things are starting to change here quickly with about 9.5 minutes of qualifying session still left to go.
Well, I just caught Ian Jolicoeur. He's on a hot lap there, and in the first sector there, he is flat even with David Poel's time.
And we just jump on board with Ian Jolicoeur. Oh, but he loses it.
Ooh.
Yep.
Whoa,
yep.
Big slide.
And he finds the wall, so he's going to park it.
Well, he was way even with Poel on that one, so he had a good opportunity, but trying way too hard on that one.
Well, here's an interesting development. Andrew Werner, 0.2 of a second off of Poel. Does he have what it takes to find those 2/10 in either Sector 2 or Sector 3?
Well, he's coming up to a sector split here, so I'll keep my eye on him.
Andrew Werner is David Poel's teammate for Season 23 in GT1 Racing. '05 Motorsport.
Just a little farther back, while you're following Werner there, I'm just keeping my eye on P11 and P12. Big Al's got a faster time in than his teammate Chris Moses.
That's interesting. Werner was 7/10.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, now he doesn't.
No. Okay. Yeah, Andrew Werner after second sector, he was about 7/10 of a second off of the pole pace, so he decided to park it. Now we have Marty Uren running in 7th position, driving the Saleen SR7. Aaron Parsons currently in 8th. Aaron, who had a strong showing at Adelaide last week, seems to be perhaps struggling a little bit with the Lister Storm this week here at Imola.
A little less power, but he may the wonder from down under, he'll find an advantage if he can, and the advantage he'll have is probably a little easier on tires, a little less horsepower there, not as high powered as the rest of them, but he'll make an advantage out of it if he can.
That's right. He sure will. So Brad Maris, also in the sub position tonight, driving the other saline. He's currently in P13, pulls it off. Alex Scott running 13th, and Rich Roman right now in 15th. So we got quite a few drivers out there kind of filling out the field, Jack.
Yeah, you know, and if I'm not mistaken, we watched John Wathan. He had some really good practice times. Maybe just doesn't have it to step it up for qualifying, but he was running really good in practice.
He was running really good in practice. Just going to take a step back to the leaderboard, and we want to take a look at the ambient temperature and the track temperature. So during practice, we saw an average track temperature of about 88 degrees Fahrenheit. So we are about 16 degrees hotter right now. So, you know, tires tend to get a little bit more greasy on them high temps.
Well, Al Merriman has pulled himself up to P10. But someone else that we made mention of, Sam Rolfe, is now up into P9. So Sportelli and Rolfe, P6 and P9. So great team effort there at Wolfsport.
Yep, shows that they're working together to try and get the best performance out of that car. Way to go, fellas. So just quickly on board with John Wathan as he comes into Variante Alta through the chicane. He's about 1.3 seconds off the pole pace. Not quite as quick as he was in practice.
Now, it's something that it's caught me out here, Ken. Maybe you can help me out. I just pulled up Thomas Schubeck. He's running in an Aston, but you know, my notes are saying that they were in a Nissan. Did they make a car change?
Well, yes, they did. It was announced on the forum just yesterday that Panzerfaust Racing, effective immediately, was abandoning the Nissan camp and jumping ship to Aston Martin. I guess the folks over at Aston Martin just wanted to give them a better deal than what they were getting from Nissan, and they bailed.
Well. So, Roman and Thomas Schubeck making a car change. Still early. You know, this is only race 3 for us here, so if you're going to do it, now's the time to pull the trigger.
It is. It is the time to do it now. So they have one more week, actually, to make that change, and after that, it's a done deal. Any swaps or team changes are going to be closed.
Well, now that we talk about changes here, we got some success ballasts going on here. Aaron Parsons is carrying 176 pounds. That might explain why he's a little slower in that lister tonight. Chris Moses with 66, Brad Maris with 66, Sportelli with 44, Roman with 88, and Schubeck with 88. So all those drivers are going to be carrying a trunk load of ballast around.
176 pounds. Wow.
Yeah, and still manages to pull off a P9, so maybe that tire advantage might go away with carrying all that extra weight.
If these temps stay the way they are right now, Jack, he's not going to last that long doing those lap times. I am pretty sure that is low fuel qualifying setup. It has to be. Just to be that competitive with that much weight. You're carrying another person around with you.
Yeah, you know, that's 10 gallons of fuel, or geez, no, 170, geez, at 8 pounds, 25 gallons of fuel. It's more fuel than the car will hold.
Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree. So you're essentially carrying another tank of gas around with you. The only thing is that you are not getting the benefit of additional fuel.
No. So, as it starts to wind down, track remains pretty warm out there. Pool stays out in front. and 1:36.688. I mean, that's a smoking hot time.
It sure is. And you know, when you take a look at the timing board, you see Alex White with a 137.0 or 137 point flat. He's only 0.4 of a second, not even, less, 3+ tenths of a second behind David Poel. So with a 137 flat, you're no slouch either.
Well, you know, when you take a look at White at 137 flat, Ludden at 137.3, Jolicoeur at 137.3. That's a paint thickness on the bumper that's barely the splitter difference in the cars. So Jolicoeur and Ludden and Werner not far behind him. Boy, we're going to be stacked up here at the beginning of this race. A lot of guys in, you know, from P2 all the way to P11 in the 137. So it is going to be a great freight train if they can keep it clean at the start.
Yep, and that's what we're hoping for, right? A clean start to the race and great racing action. It's what we want to bring you here at NAGP week after week. So it's going to be interesting. Dare I say it, a barn burner?
You can indeed.
So just jumped on board with Aaron Parsons quickly, driving the Lister Storm as he comes through the Alta chicane complex. Boy, I gotta tell you, we've been watching these guys go through that chicane complex, and they are getting more aggressive as each lap goes by. And you know, I stated it during the lab video that those curbs can quickly upset your car, but these guys just seem to roll right over them.
It is going to be a great race tonight, and curbing I think is going to come into play. I think cuts are going to come into play again, but I'm pretty sure, you know, the guys who got slapped with the cuts are going to try and be a little more careful. It may cost them a little bit of lap time, but boy, it sure is better than getting put down a lap.
It is, and no doubt that during practice most of these drivers have perhaps pushed the envelope of the cuts and kind of registered to their memory where those cuts are, and probably just going to cut it as close as they possibly can, but not push it too far. You don't want to get cuts at a track like this. You need as much track as you can take advantage of to stay fast.
And it is going to be a fast race, that is for sure. Hour and a half. Now, I wonder if we're going to have anybody join in. Join what?
Yep, just went back to the leaderboard, so we are taking a look at our qualifying orders here. Looks like Salem Montgomery Jr. did not post a qual time.
I think he just joined back in, if I'm not mistaken. I thought I heard somebody drop out, and I didn't know who it was. But we know Salem was, if he's got to start at the back there, he's not going to be happy, because he was actually in early race practice. He was in the within the top 5 or 6 drivers.
Yeah, he certainly was. He was showing some great pace around this track. It's unfortunate that he dropped from the quali session. You know, those things do happen sometimes. So, qualifying 2 is the opportunity for our drivers that may have dropped from the quali 1 session or did not get an opportunity to join for any reason beforehand, to go ahead and join the server in preparation for the warm-up in the race. So I'm pretty sure we'll see Salem Montgomery Jr. out there for the warm-up, trying to get as much practice, if you will, that he can. He'll be starting right behind Mike Greatrix in P24. Mike qualifying with a 140. Again, those hot temperatures, man, they make the tires so greasy at times. And we had seen Mike Greatrix dip into the 139s earlier during practice. Not so for the qualifying run.
And we've got Dan Wilkerson joining us on the broadcast. Welcome, Dan.
Nice of you to
Sorry,
join.
Yeah, sorry, I kept on typing in "hi guys" into the chat room there, folks, without realizing it was blocked. I didn't see it posting up there, but
I see that.
we're
Third time's a charm, eh, Jack?
Oh yeah, I don't know. You know, you get what you pay for, Al. This is all you're getting.
Hey. We're stars, okay? We are internet superstars here.
Hey, you know what? Everybody at NAGP is a superstar, and I just want to throw it out there. You guys are, Mike Trussler's joined us as well. You guys here at NAGP, what a great bunch of guys that we've got here, Mondays and Thursdays and Saturdays too. So if you want to race with us, come on out and race. It's still not too late. Got lots of room, especially here on Thursday night. You know, you Monday night guys, we got a race coming up at Mossport in this GT1 class. So you guys get out there and practice that, because we might give away some Mossport swag to some of the Monday night drivers if you join us on the Thursday night.
Very, very nice. And while we are doing a little bit of house cleaning here, we want to remind everybody that watches this broadcast, NAGP is fully supported. Well, we're supported by donations. Joining the league and racing is free. However, the cost for running the servers is not. It costs us about $300 every month to bring you this great racing that you see week after week, 3 times a week actually. They gotta pay us, so you know we need the money. No, but yeah, for server costs, website, etc., we just want to ask you guys, go into your pocket, throw us a couple of bucks every month if you can. We surely appreciate it, and the boss, I'm sure, appreciates it as well.
We've just had a late arrival. Greg Myers has joined us up in quality 2. He's going to be starting at the back, so you know, Mr. Smooth will make his way up through the grid. There's no doubt about it.
So some of the boys out there starting their practicing their starts and pit entrances. And speaking of the pit entrance, boy, I'll tell you, you can get caught out there because it's right on the straight. So you are heavy on the gas, heavy on the throttle as you're coming into that pit entrance.
Yeah, how is that pit going to be for these guys tonight, Ken? Are we looking for some action there? We always seem to catch somebody crashing on pit entrance or exit.
Yeah, I don't know, Jack. This one's pretty straightforward. The thing here is, though, getting these high horsepower cars slowed down enough and in time before they cross that white pit entrance stripe.
Well, I know these guys always like to come in hot. You know, some of the top drivers seem to have this all nailed down, and it, Ken, maybe it's something we need to work on.
Perhaps, because I tell you, you know, measuring the way I come into the pit at this track probably throws away 1 to 2 seconds compared to the fast guys. That's a lot of time around here in this league.
Well, if I was only throwing away 1 or 2 seconds, I'd probably be happy. But it always seems like everybody's, you know, like I'm taking 10 seconds more in the pit. But, oh well, we're still having fun anyway.
Tons of fun. Tons of fun. So warm up, 3 minutes left.
Yeah, any predictions, Ken?
Well, you know what? I mean, he's been on a tear lately, and he seems to have found a really nice groove here at this track for tonight. He's the only one able to pull off the quality time that he did. I'm gonna have to give it to David Poel. If he gets the whole shot on the start, Jack, and is able to gap the field sufficiently enough that he can get into a comfortable lead, it's gonna come down to pit strategy. If he doesn't allow, if nobody can jump him in the pits, I think we're gonna see David Poel running away with this one tonight.
Well, I picked David a couple of times already this season. You know, as you said, you know, it's going to be, if he doesn't make any mistakes, if he gets out in front, it's going to be tough. You know, we've seen Alex is subbing in. in a car he actually loves, but is he going to be able to maintain the pace? We've seen Alex burn tires off of cars this season.
Yeah, this season and last actually, when his internet connection was able to hold up, we've seen Alex driving the very car that he's driving as a sub tonight, the Saline Michelin shod. And if we end up with high temperatures around here at Imola, that's going to be a hard task to do because the Salines are notorious for burning off the rear tires.
Well, the track is down to 62 degrees. The ambient temperature is 50, so it is cool right now. But with those dropping temperatures, the forecast is for sunny, but boy, oh boy, it is cooling off. So will we have rain? And that is, as everybody around here says, is the great equalizer.
That it is. Well, for me, it's the great showstopper.
Well, some of the guys who are very smooth in their driving, like a Greg Myers, will do well in the rain.
Yep. Nope. Absolute. Oh, and we just lost somebody. Don't know who it was, but I think it was one of the front runners.
I think we just lost Salem Montgomery. And we lost another one too.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
They're all disappearing.
Wow. Okay, what's going on here?
I'm just going to jump over. You stay with the bunch. I'm going to jump up and see if we can get an
update. Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Boy, folks, we're sorry, but we are just dropping drivers like crazy. No doubt there'll probably be a server restart. So we're going to stick with it here for a little while and see what happens. But boy, oh boy, we're down to, 13 drivers now. Jack and I are still on miraculously. Not exactly sure, so please stand by until we can bring you an update. Sorry, folks, we're currently experiencing some technical difficulties. We do not want you guys to drop off. We are coming back. We are just getting things together here, and we will resume the broadcast as quickly as possible. So thanks for your patience, and we'll be back in a few. Alright folks, so we are back at it one more time. We are told, Jack, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to run a re-qualifying session?
Yeah, we're going back to qualifying just for 15 minutes, a quickie here. These guys are going to have time to put a half a dozen laps in. So, back to square one. They get another shot at it. I don't think much is going to change, though.
I don't know, man. Well, the track temperature now jumps up to 115 degrees, ambient of 101. These guys ought to be out at the beach, not out here driving cars.
Whoa, yeah, 115 track temp. Well, you know, they're just going out for a lap, one out lap, one hot lap. They'll probably take it easy on the out lap and let her rip.
Yeah, I mean, boy, that's a hot track. That's a really hot track temp.
So it looks like Salem was unable. I didn't even see him up on vent. We lost Salem Montgomery, so it looks like he's out for tonight.
Yeah, quite possible. Well, we know that he was the first one that dropped. Quite possibly his internet connection may have affected a bunch of others. We don't know. We're not pointing fingers here, folks. We're just making speculations because that's what we do to fill in the time with you guys.
You know, they made mention a couple of times, you know, some of the guys who are pretty knowledgeable, especially, you know, Aaron Parsons, who I think is probably the computer guru here at NAGP, that, you know, they mention, oh, guys have dirty crap. Now, I'm not a computer guy, but maybe some of this dirty crap is like, and what they were talking about is little add-ons that they have in the game. You know, I think if we just make everybody have a clean install, just the track pack and the car pack, if everybody's got exactly the same stuff, maybe we might not be having these issues. I don't know. I know they've upgraded the server, so there's not much more we can do. Let's just hope we get through this one tonight, Ken.
Yep, I agree. I absolutely agree. So you know what? For racing purposes and for broadcasting purposes, Jack, I have two separate yet clean installs of GTR2. I know that some of the guys run some different mods, like being able to jump on board inside the car, stuff like that. I like the prospect of keeping the installs clean. They run better. It does what it was meant to do. Car pack, track pack. That's it. Now, for the race, I do run the XD, but XD is proven.
Yeah, I've got XD up. You know, I don't run Motec. I don't have a lot of the other stuff in there. I'm not smart enough to install all that crap anyway, Ken. Geez, I can barely get the game going. But I do with my gaming computer. My gaming computer, other than going to the NAGP site, I don't use it for email. I don't use it for any of that crap. It's pretty clean, and typically I'm not having any problems. So, you know, I know it's expensive for these guys to keep their stuff up, and we don't have monster systems like you do, Ken, but
oh no,
you know, maybe it's something we were going to have to take a look at.
Oh no, I don't have a NASA built computer, not yet. I haven't been able to raise the funds for that, but I will gladly take donations for Upgrade Ken to a Better Computer Foundation.
Now, Ken, with the XSplit, when are we going to see your smiling face there in the bottom of the screen?
Boy, you know, the funny thing is that I do have a new gaming computer. Runs really well, and I just upgraded the processor between Season 22 and Season 23. The one thing I don't have is a webcam, Jack. I don't have a webcam.
Well, I'm going to send you one for your birthday, and we're going to see your smiling little face down there during the broadcast. I think everybody would like that.
Hey, I'm going to hold you to that. July 8th is my birthday. I turned 21. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You don't even remember what 21 was.
No, 45 this July. 45.
Now, you know, there we go. Sitting in P3 is John Wathen.
Boy, oh boy, I don't know. That's just weird stuff, man. Let's go back to the leaderboard and see what type of times he's throwing up there. John Wathen with a 138.4. So I believe that with the few minutes that we have left, we would probably see those times drop even more. Is it good enough to keep him up, say, in the top 10? It's possible. The track temperature continues to go up, Jack, 117 degrees.
Yeah, you know what? That 138, that will put them down around 10th if the other guys can put in the laps like they did previously, because we had top 10 drivers. Poel was in the 136s. We had 10 drivers in the 137, so it would put him down there, but he's currently sitting in 4th. Good on you, John. Sorry, 5th.
Okay, let's stop talking about John Wathen. We're giving him the broadcaster's curse. Let's move on to David Poel, who's sitting on pole right now. Coming up to the first sector split with David Poel. And is he going to be quicker? He is, by 0.04 of a second. That's splitting hairs, huh?
It sure is. You know, Poel and White right there, 0.2 of a second separating them. Geez, I'm just following along with Aaron Parsons, and he is struggling out there right now.
Well, you did say, what was it, 176-pound ballast that he's carrying?
Well, he just pulled it up to P6, so he's not struggling that bad. But that weight is playing on him tonight. There's no doubt about it.
No doubt about it. Just taking a look at Brad Maris right now, driving Saline. Looking mighty racy out there.
Now, I did see Mike Trussler up there while we're doing this re-qualifying. I did see Mike Trussler in the chat room there. Mike, you having some wheel troubles. Well, you better get her together, because you're having a really good season this year. So get that plug fixed and get that wheel fixed up.
Yep, absolutely. We want to see you back out on track ASAP, my friend. So, just quickly jumped on board hood cam of Ian Jolicoeur as he takes it off, does a little lawn maintenance out there. Quickly gets back on it.
You know, these guys are all lining up pretty much the way they were in the first qualifying session, so it's not such a big deal to come back out.
Yep. John Sportelli running in 5th. Aaron Parsons now in 6th. Well, I don't know, Jack. Doesn't seem like he's got such a he's not struggling too much.
Well, you know, for Aaron to be a second off the pace, Aaron's usually not a second off the pace, that's for sure. Chris Moses jumping up to P9, a little better showing than he had in the first qualifying session, so maybe the extra practice was just what Chris needed.
Yep, we were on board as you were just announcing that, and well, he's currently on an outlap right now, so he's probably going to look to better his time. But, you know, you talk about qualifying with 176 pounds, Jack, and he's only 1 second off the pace. I'd be a lap off the pace. Are you kidding me?
Well, we are talking about the wonder from down under, so it's not a wonder to me.
Yeah, I got to agree. So, John Wathen now down to P11.
Ludden. John Ludden is grabbed P1.
Oh, boy. So Ludden up to the pole position provisionally, and he's headed back out. He probably thinks he's got a little bit more. 3 minutes left.
Yeah, and David Poel just went through the first or the second sector split, and he is off Ludden's pace, so he's really going to have to pick it up in the last sector here.
Ludden posting a 137 flat. David Poel with a 137.23, so he's going to have to pick up the pace quite a bit here. Sector 2 always one of the slower sectors for these guys, especially with that uphill. Getting on the throttle as early as possible is paramount here.
Just caught Alex White going through the last sector split, and he is right on time to match John Ludden.
Well, here's the thing. David Poel in Sector 2. He is 0.138 of a second up on the pole time, but he slows it down.
Alex White is just taking the pole.
Oh, no surprise there. We knew sooner or later he was going to figure something out with that saline.
He was so close in that last sector split. He was just off the pace by thousandths, but pulled it through. Now he's got the provisional pole.
Just under 2 minutes left to go. David Poel out there in P3. Boy, I got to tell you, Poel right now is probably feeling robbed with the fact that all those disconnects happened. We had to come in here for a 15-minute requalifying session, and he's currently sitting in P3, which is nothing to be ashamed of and nothing to be upset about, but he was sitting on pole by a good margin.
Well, David Poel is right on track to match Alex White time. So if he can keep the lap together, he will challenge for the pole.
Yep, David Poel showing that he's a little bit stronger than other drivers here in Sector 2. He's going to be coming up on that Sector 2 split here in a couple seconds. We're going to have to see how he gets through this chicane.
Nice and tidy.
And wow, 5/100ths of a second.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, is this going to be the determining factor here. These last two corners, which will pit him on the front straight. He wants to floor that throttle as quickly as possible and get down that straightaway.
This is looking good.
It is looking really good. Boy, it's going to be close. Oh, didn't make it.
Oh, no.
2/100ths of a second. 2/100ths of a second. Can you believe that? I think he's going to go for one more. Don't think he'll get it in.
He won't have time. No, you've only got about a minute. And he's flashing. It's like saying, whoever's out in front of me, get the heck out of the way. I'm trying my heart out here. And he caught some gravel there, and that's the end of that.
Yeah, he is. He's a 10th off right now. It's going to be really hard. He is stronger in the second sector. Possible to make it up, but let's take a look at Alex White's time. Alex White sitting in pole right now, provisional pole, with a 136.9. David Poel, I'm sorry, with a 136.95, and David Poel with a 136.97.
really interesting.
Yeah, Poel pulls it off, so that's it. That's it, guys. It was, yeah, like Trussler says, it was oh so very close. But
well, you know, there's another bit of a surprise up there for me anyway. Is Juan Monroy, and I can't, you know, sorry folks, you know, Alzheimer's just kicking in here. Was he there? Oh, and Ian squeaks one into P5.
Wow, he just gets that in. Just got it in. Incredible run by Aaron and Ian. Wow.
Yeah, now, was Juan up there in that high up in the first qualifying session?
No. He was, I want to say top 15. I don't even think he had broken top 10. I'm not sure. But he wasn't that far up, Juan Monroy.
So, good on Juan. Good on everybody for hanging in there. You know, we've had our troubles this season, but we're trying to work through them all.
Yeah, we certainly are, and you know, we're taking every precaution that we can, right, Jack? We're always ready to go, back each other up. X-split here, X-split there, X-split everywhere, right?
We're trying.
And succeeding. So qualifying 2, they're just going to skip it and get over to the warm-up. If you didn't make it in, you didn't make it in. Sorry, guys. So once again, these folks will go through the warm-up process, practice their starts, practice their pit-ins.
They might not. He might just push that on through.
It's possible that he would. There you go. You called it.
Is.
All right, so let's go ahead and start running them down. Jack, would you please do the honors by starting?
Alex White Lightning takes the pole tonight with David Poel in second, John Ludden in third, Juan Monroy sneaks up into fourth, and our man in blue, Ian Jolicoeur, in P5.
Well, you talk about squeaking. I think Ian Jolicoeur got that in with a split hair left to go. So Aaron Parsons will start sixth, Andrew Werner in seventh, Brad Maris in eighth, John Sportelli in ninth, and Al Merriman will start in 10th.
And beside Al is his teammate Chris Moses in 11th, John Wathen in 12th. I think that's a better qualifying effort for John than the first session. Rich Roman in 13th, Sergio Calderon in 14th, Bjorn Heyman in 15th.
Starting in 16th, Jonathan Cuppett, Sam Rolfe will start 17th, Gregory Myers in 18th, Thomas Schubeck in 19th, and Johnny McIntyre will round out your top 20.
Yeah, and I think Sam probably slipped back from the first qualifying session, but Gup Douglas in 21, Marty Uren in 22nd, Jaron Keane in 23rd, Mike Graytrix in 24th, and that is all they wrote. Jack Ivy's in 25th, and Ken Rodriguez in 26th, and we'll be in the booth giving you all the play-by-play in about a half a minute.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Superstar broadcast. So, Juan Monroy, huh? Fourth. That's quite an improvement for him.
Yeah, you know, but you know, we mentioned it earlier. You know, he had some good pace early on. So we're only 6 seconds to go. I'm going to grab him at the back.
And I got him at the front as we are going green. And they're off. Oh, Alex White with a huge hole shot. David Poel gets caught out there and quickly drops back all the way to 5th spot. And he's got John Sportelli in the Lamborghini all over his tail. Juan Monroy takes it off the track, finds the wall. Andrew Werner in 9th. Let's move back up to the front. David Poel now gaining some positions back. Oh, Alex White. Oh, no. Ian Jolicoeur letting David Poel go by.
Greg Myers went off track. I didn't see why, if it was a forced error or unforced, but he is all the way back in the back of the pack.
Boy, oh boy. An exciting start.
Yep, Greg Myers and Juan Monroy. The back of the pack.
Out front with your leader, Alex White Lightning. John Ludden pulling up on Alex, not letting him get too far. Not sure what the early strategy is going to be. Folks, we haven't even completed the first lap, but looks like John Ludden doesn't want to let Alex White get too far away.
Well, back in the pack here, the CC committee's going to have lots of reviewing to do next week.
And to think I wanted to join the CC. Never mind, I'm good.
No, Ken. You know, better off where we are here. We get to yick and yak and speak our minds without any repercussions, really.
That's it, baby. Plus our salaries. $100K a year. That's monopoly money, folks.
Oh, we got more off track, more guys off track. John Wathen is out back in 17th now. 18th, 19th, 20th.
What is going on with John? Get it off the grass. No more mowing. No more mowing.
Whoa.
Johnny McIntyre right behind him. And Gregory Myers now trying to put the moves on John McIntyre. Sam Rolfe in the pits early. Might have had some aero damage.
Yeah, now Mike Trussler threw out the question, was that not a jump start by Alex White, or did he just nail it?
I think he nailed it, man, because I tell you, David Poel got caught so unaware there. Now we would have seen Alex White have to serve a black flag for that. He would have been taken off the track. So don't think that we saw a jump start there. I think that David Poel just got caught with his underwears around his ankles.
Well, Poel is sure putting a move on now.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. He is now trying to take the inside line away from John Ludden, but John Ludden, no slouch. Let's jump on board with this one.
Whoa, 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 and Ludden is, boy, oh boy, Ludden is knocked off. He's now 6-7.
Well, we did see John Ludden go sideways there just after the Tamburello chicane. Wow. Lots of racing action going on right now, folks. It's still so very early. These drivers just need to settle in, get a groove going, and then, you know what, start picking them off one by one. If you got the stuff, you got the stuff.
Well, already, you know, Sam Rolfe, who had a great qualifying in the very first qualifying session, is now coming under pressure from your race leader, Alex White. So early on, trouble for Sam. Going to be put down a lap early in the race.
On board with Juan Monroy, who had a P4 start. He's currently running 18th, trying to put the moves on Mike Graytrix as they go through the Variante Alta chicane right now, and it doesn't look like he's going to have enough to put the moves on him just yet. That Saline, certainly no slouch around the Imola circuit. But this is a great battle.
Yeah, we've got some great action going on here. A little farther back, we've got Chris Moses, Aaron Parsons. Aaron Parsons in P10, Moses in P9.
Yep, just caught up with you there, Jack. So we are, let's jump on board with Mr. Parsons. And boy, you know, Chris, week after week, loves to have his cars just kind of sliding all over the place. You can see that that tail end of that car is just a little loosey-goosey right now.
It sure is, and you know, I think Aaron definitely has pace on him, and is going to catch him momentarily.
Yep, we'll stay on with this battle for a little while. A couple more seconds. Chris Moses having just taken the inside line, which was a little bit slower going around the turns, but now he's just trying to put a little bit of gap between himself and Parsons.
Well, as you're following them just a little farther up, we've got Brad Maris is now trying to chase down Chris Moses' partner, Al Merriman, for fifth spot, and in fourth spot is John Sportelli.
And it looks like the Panos GT1 just has a little bit more in the legs department down that long front straight into Tamburello. But this is where Parsons starts pulling up on Chris Moses, trying to get a little bit of a pull off of Chris Moses' car. It doesn't look like he can get it done this time around. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle up a little bit. On board with Brad Maris.
Yeah, I'll keep my eye a little farther back, watching the action here for you. John Wathen has parked it.
Oh, sorry to hear that he parked it. Al Merriman just holding his own up there in 5th. Man, no slouch tonight for the boss man. John Sportelli up in 4th. Ian Jolicoeur trying to hunt down David Poel as best as he can. Trying to get just a little bit of slipstream as they come through the start-finish line. But Poel with extraordinary legs down that front straight.
So, 1, 2, 3, 4 has got themselves spaced out, Ken. We've got a 2-second lead by Alex White over David Poel. About a second separates him and Jolicoeur, and about 2 seconds him to Sportelli. But Merriman and Brad Maris are in lockstep together, and John Ludden just waiting behind, not far behind those guys, waiting for those two to battle themselves slower.
Well, you know, interesting that you say that Alex White has now pulled about a 2.3 second lead over David Poel. I went over and took a look at the track temperature, 96 degrees. If this thing starts getting any hotter, Jack, I think that Alex White is going to be faced with some serious problems as it comes to his tires, especially the rear ones.
Well, we know he gambled earlier this season. I think it was in GT2. Double stint in the tires, and that didn't work out for him. So we can look for him to take a full complement of tires on during this race.
Brad Maris coming under heavy pressure from John Ludden. John Ludden running P7 and Brad Maris running P6.
A little farther back in P13, we've got Thomas Schubeck running a pretty smooth race, but he's got Marty Uran all over him.
Yep, he sure does, and Marty seems to be close enough that he'll get some pull off of Schubeck. There he goes to the outside, trying to make it stick. And it looks like it's a clean pass going down the straight, the front straight into Tamburello.
Yeah, you know, he just got into that draft and just got sucked right by him. And that Aston's no slouch either.
No, I can easily see Thomas Schubeck repaying the favor if they come back down that front straightaway as close as they were before. So,
well, you know, Thomas is hang in there, buddy, because you've got Gup Douglas watched that whole thing play out and said, "Me too."
Yeah, he sure is. Gup Douglas in the 550 Ferrari. That car, it's got a lot of legs down the straight, and Gup Douglas a very good driver.
Just a little update there. Chris Moses is in the pits.
Contact with Thomas Schubeck puts him off. I believe the contact was between Marty Uren, and now Thomas Schubeck gets dropped down to 15th. Schubeck cannot be happy about that. That gives, wow, Juan Monroy got by him, Marty Uren and Gup Douglas all got by him, but I believe that,
whoa, Juan Monroy just took out Marty, I believe.
Yep, he sure did, and that gives Thomas Schubeck, wow, this is going to get interesting, because, this is going to get real interesting. Because the contact that started it all was between Uren and Schubeck, and now it looks like because of Juan Monroy's contact with Marty Uren, it's giving Schubeck an opportunity to get back into Marty Uren's draft. So, favor a little retribution? We don't do that here in this league. Are you kidding me?
Well, this is definitely an interesting mid-pack battle going on.
It is, and we got to stay with this for a little while because it's shaping up to be an epic battle.
Now, I think the big winner here was Gup Douglas, who has sailed into P12. And, boy, Gup, I'm just watching him. He's got a big smile on his face. He looks pretty happy there in the cockpit.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy.
And Sergio Calderon up into P10.
Yep, I was just moving up the field. Sergio Calderon. Did he just put a move on Bjorn Heyman, running P11?
Yes, indeed. Indeed, he did. So we've got Aaron Parsons in P9 chasing down Rich Roman. This is gonna heat up soon.
Yeah. They've been at this now for several laps. It just seems that the Aston may have a little bit more legs down the long straight, but Parsons quickly closes that gap as they go into the turns.
Now, very interesting. You know, just taking a look at I'm looking at the timing and scoring here. Alex White, it seems to be slipping a little bit. Just a tiny little bit. David Poel is, you know, very, very slowly picking away at that lead, and Ian Joliker is trying to hang on to the back of David Poel. So could Alex be cooking his tires early? Temperatures though 95, ambient 74.
Quite possibly. Al Merriman.
You know, we got 50 laps. I can't believe we're only into lap 8.
That's it. 42 laps still left on the menu, if you will. But just jumped on board with Al Merriman. He's having a great race so far, running in P5, and quite comfortably, I might say.
Now, Ken, uncharacteristically of me, I am going to have to leave you for about 60 seconds. I will be right back.
Sounds good. We jump on board with Ian Jolicoeur, currently in P3. Ian trying to close that gap with David Poel, unable to do so. That Ford GT with a lot of legs down that front straightaway, and just really quick in and out of those corners. David Poel with a look at the rear bumper of Alex White a little bit of ways. On board with your leader, Alex White, running in P1. Alex White, David Poel, Ian Jolicoeur, John Sportelli, Al Merriman. Oh, now coming under pressure from P6, John Ludden, driving the McLaren F1. Brad Merris in 7th. Rich Roman, Aaron Parsons still going at it. Sergio Calderon, followed by Bjorn Heyman in P11. Gup Douglas in 12th. Marty Uren in 13th. Thomas Schubeck 14th. Andrew Werner in 15th. Juan Monroy currently running 16th, and Gregory Myers in 17th. Johnny McIntyre in 18th, followed by Jonathan Cuppett. Chris Moses in 20th. Mike Graytrix falling off the pace a little bit right now, back into P21. Kind of running alone out there. Let's go back to the timing board. Did Mike take a pit stop? I'm curious to know. It looks like he lost. Wow, it looks like he lost about 10 seconds on several laps there. So keep at it, Mikey. Still a lot of racing left to go.
Well, P3, Ian Jolicoeur is still hanging onto the back of David Poel.
Yep, that he is, but I am following John Ludden and the boss man.
And they are in lockstep together.
That they are, but boy, oh boy, I've not seen Al drive with such fervor in quite a while.
Well, he is going to have to keep it all together and keep composed tonight.
Looking out the rear bumper cam back at John Ludden as the boss man takes it around some turns here, trying to keep John Ludden at bay.
You know, just a little farther back watching Aaron Parsons, and that weight has really got to be, you know, affecting him, but he is all over the back of Rich Roman.
You know, and looking at what the way Roman is driving right now, quite possibly just biding his time, hanging on to the back of, Parsons, hanging on to the back of Roman, just letting Roman kind of pull him around the track. Could it be a fuel-saving strategy?
Yeah, it's a good point you make there.
I mean, you know, we've watched Roman, we've watched Parsons. We know that they are two very fast drivers. Doesn't look like Aaron Parsons is too in a rush to put the moves on Rich Roman right now. So I can't help but think that perhaps the strategy right now is pull me around the track all you want. I'll probably get an extra lap out of my tank.
Back, Ludden making a move on Big Al on the inside. And Ludden's got him.
Yep, he gets it done. Oh, but Al not letting
Big
him
Al
go. Trying to answer back.
You know, Sam up on the chat room there says this is starting to look like NASCAR. And boy, these guys are not being afraid to swap paint tonight.
No, they're not. Oh, Ludden's starting to gap Al Merriman just a little bit here.
Well, not a bad strategy for Big Al just to hang in behind this guy because he is closing up on John Sportelli. And the Roman Parsons battle is still going on with Parsons in behind, but Parsons is getting close enough. I think Parsons has got pace and wants by. And there, it looks like Parsons is going to make the move.
Oh. Back marker, lap traffic puts a damper on that strategy if that was indeed the case. Not going to happen this lap.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Rich Roman with a little bit of a slide there. Oh. Going to jump on board here with Aaron Parsons as he nearly touches Rich Roman.
Whoa. Man, oh man. You know what? If you had anybody on your bumper, Parsons was the guy you want on your bumper. You know he's not going to tap you.
No, he's not going to tap you. But again, I don't know, man. You know, he's had some opportunities here to just kind of put the moves on Roman, and he hasn't done so. So I still think he's got a little bit of a strategy of just letting Roman pull him around the track. Up front with your leader, Alex White.
Well,
oh, David Poel almost putting a move on Alex. But Alex says not yet. So your top three right now currently separated by 2.7 seconds first to third. And then it's about a 7-second drop back to John Sportelli, currently running comfortably in fourth. But John Ludden is coming. John Ludden is coming and starting to put a little bit of a gap on Al Merriman.
A little farther back there, guys. You know, we've got Chris Moses running in 19th. I'm not sure what the problem was. We might be able to catch him. I don't know if he's definitely not within his fuel window. Maybe we'll try and grab Chris during his stop.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. Bjorn Heyman in 13th right now, trying to keep up with the likes of Gub Douglas and Marty Uren.
Yeah, it's a great battle going on back there.
It is. Andrew Werner's in 14th, a little bit further back. Thomas Schubeck is up to 15th. Gregory Myers, John McIntyre, Jonathan Cuppett, and Chris Moses in 19th. Not sure what happened there. Mike Raytrick's running in 20th. And Jared Keene taking it way wide back in 21.
So we've got 2 retirements, Monroy and Wathen so far.
Well, it looks like your race leader is coming up on the tail of Mike Graytrix. About to put Mike Graytrix by 1 lap down.
Well, that, you know, should be all right. It should be all right there, I think. You know, they've only got Mike to get by, and then there's a big gap between Mike up to the next car, Chris Moses. Now, something's gone on with Schubeck because he's dropped back down to P18.
Uh-oh. Might have had an off.
I'm not sure, but he was running a lot stronger than that.
Al Merriman losing a little bit of ground to Mr. John Ludden. John Ludden gaining ground on John Sportelli. So I think we're going to have a battle forming here within the next few laps.
Yep, 2 more laps for that one to take place, but Maris and Parsons are still lockstep. And they've got...
Parsons gets by. Parsons gets by.
Parsons just got by.
Yep, he gets by Roman. Oh, Brad Maris, right behind these two.
Yep. Brad, you know, the catbird there. He's probably watching that and saying, just loving that. I'm staying consistent here, boys. We know Brad is very, very consistent on his lap times.
Yeah, that he certainly is, and I'm pretty sure that he's put into practice on this track to stay competitive and have somewhat of a competitive edge. So never count Brad out. He may be running in P9, but that could easily change once these pit cycles start going through.
Yep, Brad's lap times are all 139, mid 139 to Brad puts it off into the gravel. Oh boy, broadcaster, sure sorry about that, Brad.
Yeah, absolutely. Gub Douglas in 11th, driving that Ferrari 550. Seems like he's right at home. This is Ferrari's home track. No doubt the Ferraris should perform strong here.
Yeah, Heyman and Calderon right behind him have got a good battle going on.
Yep, I was just jumping on board as you came out with that, Jack, and Heyman trying to put the moves on Calderon. Looks like he may have a little bit of a stronger car, but got to keep it under control, Bjorn, because Calderon, he'll just go ahead and continue to drive that line. Got to try and find your way around him. And right behind them, Mr. Andrew Werner driving the other magnificent Ford GT. And John McIntyre and Greg Myers. Yep.
And Greg Myers has just got by Johnny Mac in the last lap for that. Greg has pulled up all the way from starting last. He got bumped off last in the first lap and now is running P15 in the points.
That's right. That's right. And you know what, folks? That's what consistency does. It pays off its dividends.
You want to jump back up to the leaders here.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're talking about. David Poel. David Poel getting hungry. Getting hungry. David Poel, we are on board. On the dash cam, looking straight ahead at Alex White's bumper.
Lap 16, are we getting close?
Lap 16 out of how many? 51 laps? I don't know. Can these cars make it on one stop?
I'm not sure. Maybe some of the boys in the chat room will be able to update us on that one. We should know that, but obviously we don't. White pulled out a little bit of a gap there again.
Boy, I tell you, there's times that I can't figure some of these drivers out. Are they playing a cat and mouse game, or what's going on in those cockpits? I don't know.
Well, you know, could it be David gave it a shot and doesn't want to burn his tires out and give his position up to Ian Joliker?
Interesting thought process there, Jack. Quite possibly. Maybe the other thought process here is that perhaps the Ford GT might be a little bit better on tires than the Saleen SR7, and David Poel figures, let me push Alex just a little bit more so he can burn up his tires.
Well, that gap is dropping again.
Just a little bit further back right now, battling for that P4 position is John Sportelli driving the Lamborghini and John Ludden driving the McLaren F1. John Ludden making
and John is, yeah, he is just nipping away at the heels there, lap by lap. He's closing that gap.
Yeah, he's making inroads. Al Merriman running in 6th, Aaron Parsons in 7th, Rich Roman in 8th, Brad Maris in 9th, and Marty Uren in 10th. So, and it looks like Marty Uren has Gup Douglas making some inroads here.
Now, we just had an update from Dan Wilkerson. Thanks, Dan. They're going to pit on lap 26. It's going to be a one-stopper.
Interesting.
Except for Chris. We know Chris went in. Chris had...
Oh, some contact between Sergio Calderon and Andrew Werner. Andrew Werner backing off. P13. They are racing for P12. Clearly looks like Andrew Werner has some pace on Calderon right now. So they touch side by side, and Andrew Werner decided to back it off and give it another try again.
Well, we know that Ford GT has got some serious legs.
Yeah, that it does. That it does. Gregory Myers making his way up to P14, having placed a move on John McIntyre. Bjorn Heyman, and now Jonathan Cuppet. Jonathan Cuppet is running right behind Bjorn Heyman. And we are currently working, what lap are we working here? Let's go to the timing scoreboard. Lap 18.
Lap 18.
Yep, and they are planning a pit on lap 26, so going to be very interesting.
We got Roman and Maris. No, scratch that. That would look like it's a lapped car there. That's Mikey Graytrix. He's just gone by. Sorry about that.
Yep, yep. So David Poel, 0.8 of a second behind Alex White, and it's just holding steady at 0.8. That is incredible.
Yep. Closest battle on track right now is for P12. That is Calderon and Werner is still chasing Calderon around, although Werner has just lost it. And let Calderon get away.
Well, Calderon can now breathe easy.
Well, Werner can't because he's got Greg Myers coming up on him.
Oh, Mr. Smooth. Out front with your leaders, Alex White, David Poel. A little bit further back, Ian Jolicoeur. Ian trying to make some inroads, perhaps. Just a little difficult with these two power cars up front. Not going to be an easy task. John Sportelli still being hounded by John Ludden. John Ludden seems to have plateaued a little bit on the inroads he was making. on John Sportelli. John Sportelli might be pushing just a little bit harder at this point. And Al, the boss Merriman, in 6th.
Well, farther back for the last point-paying position, we've got Jonathan Cuppett giving Bjorn Heyman a rear-view mirror full of Corvette.
Yep, just jumped on board with that battle right now, Jack.
And that's really a three-way battle between Cuppett, Heyman, and McIntyre.
Scheduled for 51 laps.
Well, if they're coming in on lap 26, I don't know what magic that Alex White is using right now, but he has just pulled out to a 2-second lead over David Poel. And David appears to be struggling.
I don't know. You think he may have pushed it too hard in the early going, trying to keep up or catch Alex White?
Well, you know, as you mentioned earlier, you know, maybe he might just be backing off just a little bit. He might be suffering, you know, as bad or worse tire wear than Alex is.
Interesting point. Well, I'll tell you what. 1, 2,
3, White, Poel, and Jolicoeur have still got the cars in sight, but there's, you know, White's got a 2.5-second lead over Poel, and Poel has got a 4-second lead over Jolicoeur, so they're getting themselves spaced out. But, you know, another battle that is brewing up here is that Ludden-Sportelli. John Ludden is just nipping away, just getting closer and closer every lap.
Yep, that he is. He seems to be closing the gap somewhat, but I tell you that Lamborghini, quick off the corner, great exit speed car, and not a slouch either down the long straights when properly trimmed out.
John just had a little bit of a slide there on a corner and let that gap open up again. But John's got to be careful because in behind him is Al, and Al's, you know, not being pressured. You know, Aaron is a good, you know, 9 seconds, 8 seconds behind him. So Al's not being pressured, but he can just ride his lines, ride smooth, and you know, pick his way back up to contend for 5th.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, Al, just having completed 7 consecutive laps in the 139s, mid to high 139s. Yeah, I'd say that's something for John Ludden to keep an eye on.
So, getting close. Lap 22.
Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree. So we're going to start seeing some of these folks cycling into the pits very soon. We have 20 cars running out of 25 starters. So we've lost 5 to some attrition there. Keane, Monroy, Wathen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 24 starters. So we dropped 1. But
yeah, you know, and still some good, interesting battles going on. This pit rotation is going to be critical. You know, we've got guys that are within seconds of each other, and it's going to come down to fuel load. And we've got our first into the pit, Greg Myers. and that's unusual. He usually goes very deep.
Yep. Yeah, he certainly does typically go a lot further than most of the drivers in his pit rotations. Boy, perhaps the strategy here is a little bit of an early pit. If he could have gone further, then my guess is that the strategy is to pit early and pick them off with a second stint, with a complete second stint to the end.
You know, it could very well be. You know, he's looking at maybe he was giving up some time here, and you know, his times were pretty consistent though. I'm looking at his timing. You know, he's running 140, 141s. He wasn't losing lap time, so Greg's got something else up his sleeve.
I'm thinking the same here, and we just jumped on board with your race leader, Alex White Lightning. And he's another one that likes to stay out as long as he possibly can. So it's going to be interesting to see. And looking at Alex White's times here, very quick. He started the race with 139s, was able to dip into some 138s, but he's kept it pretty consistent throughout the first stint here, low 139. So hard to say if he may be suffering from tire wear. Same with David Poel, looking at his laps, actually getting a little faster.
Well, I do see John Ludden. His lap times are going down. Sportelli is staying pretty consistent, along with Ian Jolicoeur. Those two, Sportelli and Jolicoeur, are staying very consistent, but Ludden's lap times are dropping. You know, if he is in a pit window, it might be time for John to come in.
Yeah, Ludden is certainly losing some ground. Oh, yep. Looks like he got, nearly lost a little bit of traction there as he comes over the hump of the hill, but certainly losing some ground to Sportelli. He's got a bit of a slide going through those corners.
Ian Jolicoeur in the pits. So they're coming in a little earlier than we thought.
Yeah, no kidding. On board with Ian Jolicoeur in the pits right now. And he goes up on the jack, so he's taking full service. Gup Douglas, running 11th, will now come by and take over P10 as he stays out another lap. Andrew Werner, P12, into the pits. Johnny McIntyre running P13. He's going to stay out.
Well, I just jumped on board with the hood cam on David Poel. You see, he's chasing Alex White. These guys have got their hands full with these cars now.
Yeah, they do. Oh, but Poel's bringing it in.
White stays out.
Yep, again, you know what we mentioned. Alex White likes to stay out as long as he possibly can. Alex White's got strategy all his own, you know what I mean? So, kudos to you, Alex White. You run your race. We'll have to see what the outcome is at the end.
Well, I got a feeling he's going to be in two. He's not going to... Yeah, he's a second off the fastest sector time right now. He's not going to give up more than one lap to David Poel on crappy tires.
No, I have to agree with you there. And then you know what? In the long run, that can hurt him because although you may still end up coming out in front or just about even, that can Oh, Alex White taking away wide. So we know his tires are just about melting off the rim. But
well, we've got a pit lane full of Parsons, Poel, Sportelli, Douglas, and Roman all in.
Douglas.
Poel is rolling.
Yep. Looks like he will come out in 10th. And Poel is off.
White in the pits. Whoa, bounces it off the wall.
Ouch. No bueno. Oh, and it looks like somebody was in his pit stall. Al Merriman.
Well, he's in getting fuel.
Al Merriman in the pits. John Ludden in the pits. Now, Brad Maris, P4, coming into the pits. Lap 25. Wow, these guys are going to cut it close, I think.
Yeah, you know, yeah, White is up, getting his tires.
And let's see, John McIntyre, Jonathan Cuppett, Bjorn Heyman, David Poel. Well, Poel has pitted, but McIntyre, Cuppett, and Heyman are still out there. And McIntyre temporarily takes over the lead. Heyman stays out for an additional lap. Jonathan Cuppett is in the pits. A little bit early.
Keep your eye on White.
Yep.
As Poel's coming around. And he's out in front of Alex White.
Yep, and by a good margin at this point. Wow.
Whoa, by almost 10 seconds.
Alex White currently running in P5, but not all pit cycles have completed, so folks out there, this is going to yet again. Ian Jolicoeur, however, did pit.
Yes, he did, and he is right behind David Poel.
Yes, he is. So, a second stint battle forming here. I don't know if Jolicoeur has the legs or the power that's needed to take on that Ford GT, man. That Ford GT tonight has just been on a serious tear. It would take David Poel to make a serious mistake, and it doesn't look like he's been doing that tonight. So,
well, we know if he leaves the door open, we know Ian is gonna jump at that door.
McIntyre into the pits, and let's see what happens with Heyman. Heyman is in, so they will relinquish Ps 1 and 2 to David Poel, Ian Jolicoeur, and Alex White. So now David Poel officially inherits the lead of this race, and boy, I think I may have to retract my statement, because here comes Jolicoeur.
Just takes P1 and takes it off. He overcooked it.
Yeah, he overcooked it into that corner, gives it right back to Poel. Oh, if that was ever a thank you and you're welcome moment all in one.
Well, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. That
yep.
You leave the door open, and Ian's going to jump right through it.
Yeah, but Ian overcooked it in that one. You know, yeah, thank you. I'll take that position, and you're welcome. Here it is, right back.
Now, a little farther back, P4, we've got Al Merriman, who's come out ahead of John Sportelli.
Look at that, Ps 4 and 5, but they're going to be in a heated battle here. So, you know, Al has been running a really good, clean race. He's been racy out there. Naturally, towards the maybe about 3/4 through his stint, his car started to show some wear and tear on the tires, so lap time started dropping. But whose didn't, right? So if he can just keep it together and conserve them tires as much as possible, I think he may be just within a top 5 finish here tonight, Jack.
Yeah, you know, hell of a run this season for Big Al with the 6th place finish last week and running in 4th right now. But you know, John is super competitive, so you know we can't just give that position to him because we know John's going to be up there and battling for it.
Now here's an interesting turn of events. Aaron Parsons up to P6 after the pit rotations. He came out in 6th, and he is there. About 3 seconds separate him and Ludden.
Yeah, but it's still got some tight battling going on here. You know, we've got Sportelli's going to try and run down Merriman. You know, we've got John Ludden. He's going to try and run down Parsons. We've also got in P11 Gup Douglas and Marty Uren. He's going to try and run down Marty. So there's some good battling going on here.
Andrew Werner in 12th. Gregory Myers 13. John McIntyre. Wow, and Jonathan Cuppett. So McIntyre into the pits. Jonathan Cuppett will inherit the 14th spot. Sergio Calderon. Tom Schubeck back in 17th. Chris Moses in 18th. So Chris having a bit of a struggle here tonight, Jack.
Yeah, that early pit just didn't help him out at all. Schubeck's going to take the 16th spot now.
And Mikey Graytrix running in P20. So Mikey Graytrix, last of the running cars, looks like I think that's John Ludden that might be coming up on his tail right now. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, you know, I'm just looking at Chris Moses' lap times here, and you know, I don't know. He's got 2 untimed lap times. Did he get a stop and go? He might have got a stop and go for cut track.
That'd be very interesting to know. And you know what'll be the telltale signs is those race results.
Well, he's got 2 untimed laps, and then he had to make a pit. I think he got a black flag for a pit because he did take fuel on like everybody else later on.
Very interesting. On board with Ian Jolicoeur, running P2 to David Poole's P1, and it looks like Jolicoeur doing a fairly decent job of keeping up with David Poole. Still not close enough to put any type of moves or challenge for the lead, but Jolicoeur may just be of the strategy, saying, you know what, I'll hang back here in second, not push it too hard, not let you get too far away, and maybe challenge for the lead towards the end of the stint. Who knows?
Well, he had one shot at it. That didn't work out too well. And you might be right. He might just be saying, I better just wait until I know I can make the pass.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. You know, you try that first time and you fail. I don't want to say miserably, but you fail. Epic fail. And you know, kind of changes the strategy.
Big Al is coming under pressure from John Sportelli.
Just jumped on board with John Sportelli on the dash cam. Yeah, just coming under just about a little bit of pressure.
Big Al looking pretty smooth though.
Yep, Sporto got to be careful that he doesn't overcook it going into one of those corners.
Yep, easy to do when you're smelling blood.
Yeah, you're not kidding. We'll cycle back through the pack a little bit here. Aaron Parsons running in 6th. John Ludden in 7th, trying to make some inroads there to Parsons. Challenge for that P6, but Brad Maris still a ways back, not challenging Ludden for that P7 spot. Rich Roman in 9th and Marty Uren in 10th. So they've looks like they've spaced themselves out quite a bit here, Jack.
Yeah, you know, you've got Maris out in front of Roman by about 8 seconds, about 4 seconds between Roman and Uren, about 4 seconds to Douglas, and about another 8 seconds to Werner, and another 8 seconds to Meyer. So they're getting spaced out here after the pit rotation.
Well, the last car on the lead lap right now is P16, Tom Schubeck. He's running in the last points paying position. He's got both the leaders right on his tail. Going to be interesting to see as they're coming up to some twisty areas of the track. Thomas Schubeck taking the inside line, maybe thinking that they can pass on the outside, but not just yet. David Poel probably start flashing his lights here any second. And there he goes.
Yep, and that's really backed him up.
So Schubes will take it to the right side. Wow.
Whoa.
Wow, that was
close.
But that was very professional, very nice. Good on you, Tom. Good on you. Man, that was textbook.
Well, that still was close. That was a little bit of a pucker moment.
That's what you call cake, Jack. That's cake. Little New York slang for you.
All right, there you go.
That was cake. So, Sergio Calderon running in P15, Jonathan Cuppett in 14th. Everybody having gone through their pit cycles. Mr. Smooth, Greg Myers up in 13th, and Andrew Warner in 12th. Gub Douglas in 11th, and Marty Uren in 10th.
Well, the battle is still raging between Sportelli and Big Al, but you know what? Al looks just absolutely unflappable tonight.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. Just a little bit further back from there, Aaron Parsons running in P6 has got John Ludden all over his bumper. John Ludden trying to make the inroads and saying, I really, really want that P6 position. He's going to have to work for it.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Aaron is not going to be easy to pass. He's going to drive his line. There's no way Aaron's even looking in the mirrors. He's aware where he is. Ludden is going to have to get just a stunning run off one of these corners to get up and pass him.
And let's not forget, Aaron Parsons is a great defensive driver when it comes to protecting the race line. So, yeah. I'd say Ludden has his work cut out for him. But a little bit further up, as you were stating, Sportelli, the boss, Al Merriman, currently battling it out for P4. They're coming up on some lap traffic. Alex White in 3rd.
I was right there with you.
Ian Jolicoeur running 2nd, and David Poel in 1st. So, you know, again, just looking at the way you know, kind of playing cat and mouse all race long. It was first Alex White, then David Poel, but now it seems that David Poel and Ian Jolicoeur may be playing that same cat and mouse game. A little bit of a rear view mirror peekaboo here.
You know, I think Bjorn has moved over. Let Al by. Sportelli gives him the lights.
Oh, yep. Sportelli gets by and flashes the thank you.
You know, it's a hard call to make. You know, like when you have a couple of guys coming up on you, and there's no one really challenging you, that you just pull it over, take that 1 second, hit, and let them both buy you clean? Or do you try and keep on your own pace?
Well, I tell you what, in an instance like that where I'm not challenging or being challenged for my position, I'd move over just sufficiently enough, let them both by, and try and tuck in behind them and see if they can pull me around the track. Maybe I can learn a thing or two from these really fast guys, That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. When I see two guys coming up and they're nose to tail, I just move over, let them both by, and don't interfere with their race. They're on pace, just let them go at it. And I agree with you. A lot of the times you can tuck in behind them, and boy, you can pick up some serious speed just by following these guys around the track.
Yeah, you certainly can, and maybe some better braking points. Just watching or following some of these fast guys around. I've improved at certain tracks by doing just that, and realizing, hey, these guys got a much later braking point, or they brake a little bit earlier, and they sometimes slow as fast through a corner. So definitely well worth letting them by and just tucking in behind them and be observant.
Just a little update there. David Poel 2 laps ago just set a fast lap of the race for his fastest lap at 1:38, almost flat.
Incredible. So it looks like David Poel just put Lister Storm down a lap. Was that Parsons? No, couldn't have been Parsons.
Well, Ian's had a bit of an off because he is now, I don't know how Ian lost the time, but Ian is 9 seconds behind now.
Yeah, I think that was Calderon. That was Calderon's Lister Storm that David Poel was putting a lap down. So Calderon is now 1 lap down. So top 14 running on the lead lap at this time. Looking for a close battle, and it looks like Sportelli and the boss man.
Ian had a seriously bad lap there, 8 seconds off his normal pace, and that's put him down. So he has got his work cut out for him, especially now that we're going into lap 35.
Oh wow, he had a 1:46. Sorry that we missed that, folks. Back on board with Mike Graytrix in P20 right now, having some traffic go past him. So he's mixing it and dicing it up with some faster traffic, but boy, he's having just a wee bit of some trouble with that saline here tonight. Keep it on track, Mikey. Keep your head down and your foot on the gas.
Yeah, that's Sportelli and Merriman. Now Sportelli is closing up.
Yep, just jumped on Sportelli's dash cam. This is going to be interesting right here. Closest battle on the field right now. Well, we know that Sportelli is definitely in Al Merriman's slipstream as he's starting to pull up on him. Will he have enough to try and make a run for the inside? And it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
He definitely wants it to happen, though.
Yeah, just got to get a little closer. And you know what? Al Merriman tonight has displayed that on fresher rubber. He is quite racy around this track, but here we go. And it looks like he's going to try it. Nope, not close enough yet.
I mentioned it before. I can't remember seeing Al drive this smooth for a couple of seasons, so I don't know. Maybe that car suits him, but boy, oh boy, it's a pleasure to see Al running up at the very front of the field.
Yeah, and
coming up with some lap traffic.
Yep.
Very nice, very nice.
They just passed Mike Greatrix.
And good on you, Mike. That was actual textbook. Let them both slide right through. Perfect.
Great battle going on for P4 right now. Let's just move a little bit further up through the field right now. Alex White in P3. And look at this. They are not too far back from Mr. White. Huh.
Well, talking about Alex White, he has really made big inroads with Ian Jolicoeur's one mistake in the race Ian has made, and that has put Alex White got the crosshairs on the back of Ian Jolicoeur's car tonight.
Looks like Chris Moses, however, standing between him and Ian, at least for the moment.
Well, a good guy to have in between you. You know, when the time comes, you'll get by him lickety-split.
Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree. So, let's move a little further back here.
Yeah, unbelievable battle, that Sportelli and Merriman.
And you've got Ludden and Parsons running for P6 right now. Parsons all over the tail of John Ludden.
Yep, not much separating these two characters.
You know, I'm going to stay with this battle here between Parsons and Ludden for P6. I want to see what Parsons is going to do, if he can do anything, getting onto that front straight. Man, Ludden's just not giving him any opportunity to get a really good slipstream on him.
Nope, just can't get close enough.
Nope, not at all. Ludden is just moving down the Torrey Straight.
Well, just a little update there. You know, we've got David Poel is out 12 seconds out in front, and all he's got to do is run his race tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sirree. Looks like David Poel may be pulling up here on Gregory Myers shortly. On board with your race leader, David Poel. And you know, I can't help to think that this might be a little vindication here, or you know, self-justice. Again, David Poel having set the fast pole time in our first qualifying session, which unfortunately had to be rerun because of mass disconnects. I think he may be facing some sweet justice here if he can keep it the way he's been running and pull this win off, you know.
Well earned. I'm just on board a little farther back with Sportelli and the Big Al. Sportelli's having a look. He just can't get in, although he is tucked right into his bumper, but he just can't. Al's just running a perfect line tonight.
Kudos, big kudos and big ups to Al Merriman. Al Merriman, the boss here at NAGP. He is the one of many that make this all possible, but he is at the helm and steers this ship in the direction that it goes. So I want to thank Al Merriman for all the work that he's done in making this league possible. Well,
They got about 11 laps left to go, so They just got to hang in for 11 laps. Your race leader, David Poel, out in front by 12 seconds to Ian Jolicoeur and Alex White, about 3 seconds behind. So Poel, Jolicoeur, and White out in front. Big Al Merriman running a strong fourth, being hounded now for what seems like forever by John Sportelli.
You know, and here's what I can't understand. How is it that he is keeping so calm and collected? Oh, I think he might have gotten he might have gotten a little push. Yep. Little love, little kiss by Sportelli, but Sportelli backed it off and said, no, 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 that's not how I want to take it. I want to take it legitimately. So Al Merriman right back on it.
You know, even our viewers tonight, you know, they're saying the same thing. Al's had a great, been running great races, so good to see him do that for all the work he's put in for us here.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I have to agree. He's stepped up his game this season, and only Al Merriman knows the reasons why. But it's good to see him running as competitively as he is right now. This is really good to see.
You know, a little farther back, you know, Ludden has opened up a 2-second gap on the Parsons, so the pressure is off right now on John Ludden as he's coming to lap traffic. Gets the signal flash by, so looks like Ludden has given himself a little bit of breathing room there. So the big battle, and these guys are going to be exhausted, is Merriman and Sportelli.
Yeah, you're not kidding. And you know that there's the Rich Roman and Marty Uren for P9 battle that's been going on just about from the drop of the green flag. So, and now Gup Douglas, who has made inroads.
Yes, and that's right. It's a three-way battle for P9 there. Roman, Uren, and Douglas.
Yeah, Gup Douglas, we haven't covered him much tonight, but I gotta tell you, he has just been quietly sneaking up on these boys, and he's run a fantastic race. Had a good pit stop, in and out as quick as he could get him, and it's paying off. P11, who knows where he's gonna finish? We may see a top 10.
Well, you know, P11 is exactly where he finished last week, so Gup's got to be pretty happy with this. And we know Gup's taking a break from Monday night, you know, to concentrate on his Thursday night GT1 racing, so it looks like it's paying off for him.
Sergio Calderon moving over for Jonathan Cuppett. Not sure what happened there, but Chris Moses
back up.
Jonathan Cuppett and Sergio Calderon, three-way battle. Go ahead.
We had Big Al and John Sportelli go through some lap traffic, and that has closed that gap up again just about where it was. What a bumper battle.
Yep, they just put Thomas Schubeck another lap down. So, interesting battle going on up there. But, boy, Jack, this battle that's going on for P14, Jonathan Cuppett, Chris Moses, Sergio Calderon. These are all points paying position, but I got to tell you, they look like they're racing for the win.
Well, you know, we've said it many times before. That's what it's all about here at NAGP. It's not necessarily racing for the win, it's racing. You know, the cars are virtual, but the racing is real. And anytime you got 3 guys or 2 guys on a track, you got to race.
You are absolutely right, and it looks like Jonathan Cuppett stretching the Corvette's legs down that front straightaway. Has to get heavy on the brakes, which always gives Moses the opportunity to close that gap just a little bit, but looks like Jonathan Cuppett's right back on it. Sergio Calderon running in the last points paying position. Thomas Schubeck, Bjorn Heyman, John McIntyre, Mike Greatrix calls it a night, and he pulls the Saline into the garage. So your race leader, David Poel, out front. Ian Jolicoeur, Alex White. And the closest battle here, Al Merriman and John Sportelli. John Sportelli, boy, I tell you, if he has been legitimately trying to get around the boss, man, he's got to be pulling some hair out of his scalp right now.
Well, I got to give it to John. You know, he has showed great patience. You know, Al's running great lines. He's not giving John a lot to look at. You know, but John is not overly pressing the situation. I mean, he knows that if he gets up there, all it's going to take is one little bobble, and he'll get that spot. But, you know, as we start closing down, and we are closing down, we're in lap 43 now, he's going to have to maintain his composure, you know, and just wait for that opening.
Yeah, no, you are absolutely right, but I don't know if that opportunity might come. Al's just been running such a good and smooth race, near perfect, that it's going to be really hard for Sportelli to get by if Al is on that groove to the end. He's just been that way all night, so great battles going on out here.
Getting up to some lap traffic here, and this is where it gets interesting.
Yep, I believe that is Sergio Calderon that they might be coming up on. Let's take a look. Yep, it sure is. And they are right up on Sergio's bumper. I am looking out of Sergio's rear bumper cam right now. And oh man,
oh boy!
I'm sure that Sergio has to be.
Al giving him the lights.
Yeah, he's giving him the business with the lights. I know Sergio's got to be seeing those blue flags. He's got to be seeing those blue flags. If not, his.
Well, get over, and look at Al is all over the back of him. Oh, Sergio.
All right, let him by, Sergio. Let him by. Let him by. Al's going to get by, and Sportelli will get by. Finally. Oh, Al puts it sideways.
Yeah, oh, and Sergio, stay the heck out of the way. But you know what? That was a tip by John Sportelli, and you know what? I got to give it back to John. What sportsman-like bit of driving I've seen. Giving that spot back to Al, because he backed right off the throttle. Let Al take that position back.
Wow. Wow. Absolutely amazing driving out there. Great sportsmanship. That's what it's all about, folks. Great sportsmanship.
Wow. You know what? I'm going to slap you, Sergio. You should have gotten the heck out of the way earlier.
Yeah, I have to agree. Sergio could have given them just a little bit more breathing room, just let him by. He's not challenging anybody for position, and nobody's challenging him, so you get the broadcaster slap.
That's right. You know what? You know, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. You didn't need to do that. You could have just pulled off, give it a couple of seconds just to let him clear you, and tuck in behind him.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes situations like that will create a little bit of angst with these drivers that are battling for position, such as it did with John Sportelli, trying to get out of that, out of that situation, giving a little bit of a tap to the boss man. But again, like you mentioned, we got to give it to John Sportelli. Great sportsmanship tonight.
Yeah, you know, and I know Sergio is in P16. He's in the last points paying position. Schubach's in behind him, not too far behind. I know he didn't want to give up the time, but Schub had to give up the time, so you have to as well. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, as bad as that played out, I think Al is probably breathing a sigh of relief.
I gotta agree with you, because that was hairy. It was hairy to say the least.
But you know, it almost looks like Sportelli might have a little bit of pace on Al, because he's closing back up.
Gup Douglas running 11th, right behind Mr. Roman.
Oh, you know what? Sportelli's got to be careful. He has got 2 cuts.
Uh-oh. He doesn't want that third. That would just totally blow his race right out of the water.
Al has 1. Sportelli has 2. He's going to have to settle down. You know, they've only got 5 laps left. It may be that if John's going to press this home and pull another cut, it may cost him.
Yeah, and you know what? We don't want to see that. We don't want to see that at all. We want to see some good, clean racing all the way to the end. Going to just jump on board with the leaders here for a little while. David Poel running a clean, comfortable race out front. Keep it steady, David. This would be a well-earned victory, and we're pulling for you. You are my prediction, so you have to win tonight.
Yeah, you know, Poel is running steady 38s. Got a couple of 39s, very low, but that's it.
So Sporto making some inroads again on Al Merriman. Not quite as fast as he did previously. I think that little bit of breathing room that Al garnered from that whole situation, including involving Sergio, has given him a little bit of confidence there to just keep it running smoothly. And boy, I tell you, Al's been running a great race. Still the closest battle on track. And of course, you know what?
Yep.
Like that Kreshnik Khalili battle a couple of weeks ago. We're giving them good press coverage here.
Absolutely, it is the race tonight.
There is a little bit of a battle. Hold on. There's a bit of a battle going on for P10. Rich Roman, Gub Douglas, Andrew Werner. They're almost freight training it around this track right now with Gub Douglas between an Aston Martin and a Ford sandwich.
Yeah, Rich looks like he's got his hands full.
What are you saying, Jack? You know, Roman, like some of the other guys around here, like you say, they can drive shopping carts. Bjorn Heyman in P19, McIntyre in 18. Shoes in 17th, Calderon in 16th, Moses 15th, Cup at 14th, Myers 13th, Andrew Werner 12th. Gub Douglas, boy, he's still in the heat of that battle with Roman. Gub Douglas in 11th and Roman in 10th. Marty Uren running 9th comfortably and unchallenged. Brad Maris in 8th, Aaron Parsons in 7th, and Ludden in 6th. And back up to this battle, John Sportelli in 5th, just got past Chris Moses, Al Merriman in 4th. White, Joe LaCour, and Poel. So going back to the battle for P4.
Yeah. And Sportelli is still sitting on 2 cuts, so he is on the bubble. You wouldn't know by the way he's driving.
Nope, not at all.
Well, you know, we're winding this one down. We're on lap 48.
48. Two cuts. Wow. That's scary. That is so scary this close to the end of the race.
Yeah, it's not what I would want to be doing.
Neither I, Jack. Neither I.
Well, Poel looks like his car is, you know, a little harder to handle, but he is put on a real show tonight. You know, 16 seconds out in front. Just a great show by him.
Absolutely dominating performance.
But this Sportelli, Al Merriman, this battle has just been a pleasure to watch. You know, they'll be exhausted, but what a ton of fun.
Absolutely, it's been epic. It's been epic. It reminds me, like I said, of that race a few weeks back with Halili and a couple of others, including Greg Myers. He was involved in that that epic battle that went on 3 ways for some laps in GT2.
But, you know, another battle I know we've been focusing on, Merriman and Sportelli, and you had mentioned it a couple of times. Douglas, Werner, and Roman, you know, they've been going at it too. There's only a second separating each one of these guys.
Well, interestingly enough, these two... Oh! Roman having to pull it into the pits.
Oh, must be fuel.
Has to be fuel. Has to be fuel. Has to be. If he's gone right away, it's going to be a splash and dash. Yep, it was fuel. Oh, heartbreaking.
Well, yeah, you might be well advised to. I'm on with David Poel because we might be coming up to the last lap here.
Yep, I am on board with the race leader.
Although Sportelli and Merriman, that battle is not over yet.
No, not at all.
So I think this is the last lap. You can look for Sportelli to try. He's up beside. He's tapped him. He's bumped his way by. He's by Al Merriman.
Oh, let's see if the boss can get back what was stolen. Oh, looks like a little bit of flashing lights there.
Al taking it wide.
Yep.
Settle down.
Yep, settle down, Al. It's going to let him get too far ahead of you. On board with your race leader, David Poel, right now. He's on the far end of the track.
So, I knew that John was going to have to push it at some point.
Yep. We knew that he was going to try and make that move towards the end here. And, no, it looks like we have another lap to go. No, that's the end of the race, it looks like. Yep. Ian Joe LaCour will finish third. Second, Alex White third. John Sportelli, and the battle with Al Merriman still ongoing. Boy, we're going to have to run that replay, go back and see the replay of just how Sportelli got by him. Might be deemed a racing incident if he got a side-by-side tap. But it's as I called it. You know what? John Sportelli got by the boss man, but Al Merriman still with a top 5 finish. John Ludden will come home in 6th. Aaron Parsons in 7th. Brad Maris in 8th. Marty Uren in the 9th. Gub Douglas currently holding 10th. He's got Andrew Werner on his tail. Don't think that he's close enough, though. Marty Uren 9. Gub Douglas 10. Andrew Werner 11. Gregory Myers. Rich Roman is out. Jonathan Cuppett finished, and Chris Moses finished, and that is going to be everybody.
All right, guys, I'm going to drag up your race winner, David Poel.
Yes, sirree.
Who's guys leaving?
David.
Yes, sir.
Broadcast Racing here. How are you doing tonight after that stunning victory?
Doing better now. I was tired and ready for that one to be over. I was just like Monday. I was very nervous there in the closing laps, just waiting, to get a cut or something stupid to happen. So glad to get that in the bag.
You looked like you were in good shape there. It looked like it was getting a little slippery out there at the end on the tires, though.
Yeah, late in the stint it does get a little bit. We had a real, or at least I did, and I'm not sure what Andrew changed, but I had a real conservative setup just for that reason, just maximum stability through those bumpy sections and especially the chicanes, just trying to make sure the back of the car wasn't moving around too much. It's real easy to slide through that chicane and get a cut, so just had a pretty conservative setup and just tried to stay steady as I could.
David, Ken Rodriguez here. I was stating during the broadcast, this has got to be a sweet victory for you. Having set the early pole in the first round of qualifying, which unfortunately had to be tossed away because of a mass disconnect, and a 15-minute qualifier after that, you couldn't quite get that swag back, if you will, of your first run. But this has got to be sweet victory, being able to pull off the victory after having suffered to have to go through a second qualifying round.
Yep, I was disappointed to have to do it again. It worked out all right. I was on the front row, but I blew the start. Hopefully I didn't mess anybody up behind me. Stupid thing not put the car in gear. I wish I had a good excuse for it, but that's what happened. So fortunately I figured it out straight away, though, and got going. And I hope if John Ludden's watching, hopefully I didn't see what happened exactly. We didn't touch, I don't think. I didn't have any damage on my car, but I tried to give him some space, but I may have squeezed him a little bit when I got next to him. I'll have to go back and watch the replay. Hopefully that's all right, though.
Yep, absolutely. But great run. Congratulations on the victory. It was fun to watch. Just dominate the performance like that. Congratulations.
Yep, thanks, guys. The first stint especially, I didn't see what happened to Alex after the pit stops, but it's pretty high stress there. That was a pretty close fight with Ian, especially at first, and then he caught right back up to me. Ian did. Put a lot of pressure on me in the second stint. So, yeah, that was some close racing. That was fun.
Great action, great run. Looks like you got the monkeys off your back for this season, and you are just cooking it this year. Good on you, David.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Thank you. So, for Jack Ivey and the NAGP Racing League, I am Ken Rodriguez, and we want to thank our viewers for watching. We want to thank David Poel for coming up here in the broadcast booth and joining us. We will do this again next week, and we want to thank you for having joined us. So, have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Catch you at the races.